Hi there, and welcome back to Stubbs Aquatics. This is the third installment of the pond rebuild. It's been going pretty good, to be honest, and I'm quite happy with it. But we did hit a bit of a disaster. Now, this isn't clickbait or anything. The disaster really did happen. We had a massive rainfall overnight, and without a word of a lie, there had to be 2.5 feet of water in the bottom of the pond. There's no liner in the pond. We have nothing but clay. So we had to, well, you'll see the mess. But there is good news. We did get the liner in, as in it was shipped to here. We have to install it yet. So in this episode, we'll finish off the digging and we'll put the liner in. I'll show you how to put a liner in a pond. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned, everyone.
Well, I've got a bit of a disaster here. 7 o'clock in the morning. That's all the water we've got in the pond. There's no liner. Water's running in everywhere. I hope my sides are not going to collapse. Oh man. Look at that. Can you believe there's no bottom to this liner? It's all been cut out. It's just clay bottom underneath and, well, it's holding the water. Well, fingers are crossed. Put in the sump pump or the sludge pump and we'll see what happens. Hoping for the best, expecting the worst. Here goes. Finally, we catch a break and the water's all pumped out. My entire family was there for the weekend, and boy, I put them all to work. It was so great to have them here. They really helped out a lot. We had to level off the edges to get ready for the liner. And, well, my son was a great help. We still had to dig more of the bottom. At least my son said we did, because it was damned if we weren't going to get down to 6 feet. And being in the military, he said he's dug plenty of trenches. And well, I'll let the expert do it. He's a lot younger, and well, he's in much better shape too. Only to be that young again, and well, have at her, son. My friend Jim, who is a gardener by trade, showed up and again was great help. You know, it's really good to have good friends and great family. Even one of my son's friends who dropped by said he wanted to help, and who am I to stop someone who wants to help? Well, alcohol may have assisted in getting him to stay. It sure is good to have good friends and family. It's very seldom that our family is all together, simply because my daughter lives out west and my son's in the military and is also a volunteer fireman, so we don't get to see him very often, but we certainly took advantage of it, and we all got our Stubbs Aquatic shirt on and had a picture taken. It was nice to have that done. It means a lot. This ground is such a nightmare. Just trying to take all the rocks and get everything ready for the liner. Changing around the pond a wee bit. Obviously the skimmer's been moved. Isn't that lovely stuff at the side there? I'll have to break all that down. Well, the reason for leaving part of the liner up is it's just extra protected for the new liner. That way nothing can go through, or shouldn't go through, that being the roots, because look what, underneath the old liner, that's roots. So I'm definitely going to reuse the old liner and put that down just to make sure everything's good. Also put some other form of underlay. But it's finally drying up. Maybe not at the bottom there, but it's drying up. And I'm really happy we got down to 6 feet. That's over my head. And the koi should be nice and happy in there. Put a bit of a grade in there. I wish I could go 6 feet all around, but there's no way I'm going to be able to dig that. And this should be pretty big for them now. They're going to enjoy this a lot better than the old pond. Lots to do yet. I can't wait to get the liner down. It's there, just waiting. So much to do, so little beer to drink. Well, the next episode, or this episode, I think will be called Blood, Sweat, and Beers. Well, not one to waste. Put the old liner back down. Have to cut a few spots, but it should protect the new liner. And don't worry, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle blanket still survived and will be here to protect the new liner. Can't wait to line this thing. I bet these fish can't wait for it to be lined and they can swim in a much bigger pond. Because they're all getting sick of being cooped up. Can't blame them. Yeah, you already got fed. The big mooch.
Oh, you do love me. Look at the heart on your shirt.
Did he say stand there?
Well, now that the liner is in the pond,
Go, Jim.
is then sitting at the bottom of the pond, it's time to unroll it. Unrolling a 30 by 30 liner is not the easiest, especially when your pond isn't square. So we've taken it to about one of the widest areas, and we'll go from there.
Good plan.
Now the reason I'm wearing sock feet is I don't want to damage the actual liner. Having a tall guy at the bottom really helps out, especially as he can hand it up to me and I can pull it up there. I can bear the weight of it, because it sure is heavy. Our planning really comes into play here. See, it's not very wide at this point, but it's the deepest we can go. So it's about 6 feet deep, maybe a tiny bit deeper, which will be perfect. And I have to have enough liner to go up and over the other side, so this pond will flow into the old pond. Really had to plan that out. That's why I went with a 30 by 30 liner. And now to open it. And I wish they'd stay standard on how they fold these, because they're a bit of a nightmare. It helped from a great neighbor, being Nick next door. Like that, Nick next door. And an old friend that I used to work with at the police department. He's still there. Ha ha ha. Brendan was a great help, and so was Muscles Nick there. Should have had him lift the liner in. It's only about 8 feet wide here where it comes out of the other pond. So you really have to plan this one out well, because it's going to go 17 feet wide later on. This is where we really have to stretch it out, and hopefully that we got the measurements right, because I can't go back now. So we are going to have enough room with the 30 by 30 liner, but again, you just have to take it nice and slow, especially when putting this big of a liner in this big of a pond. It's a tough job. Thankfully, my wife has agreed to film.
The sarcasm.
Well, we get the fun and the heavy work. In some water shortly, so we can work on the pleats and try to get some of the wrinkles out. It's a real long process, but boy, is it going to be much better than the old pond. so much deeper, and with additional 25 years you gain that much more experience. A few ponds, and I've built several over the years, so it helps. Getting the rock set in place just to hold the liner is really important. You don't want it overly too tight, and you don't want it too slack. You're constantly changing it as water is coming in. That is, once we add water. And that's, well, we're going to be doing that now. And of course, with water, you got to have a beer. See, blood, sweat, and beers. We're constantly readjusting the liner, as you don't want too much tension on it, and you don't want to waste any liner either. So, I'd rather not cut it if at all possible. If you're wondering why I've got water running out of the other pond, it's one to cycle the current pond, and it also acts as a good water change for the fish that are in it. Only adding water really does help out, because you're constantly adjusting the bottom of the liner and trying to work some of the wrinkles and kinks out, especially when you don't have a square pond or a oval pond like this one.
This way.
You guys want some help over here?
Shortly.
Not necessarily from me.
It's kind of like putting carpet down. Just why your socks all wet. Why my balls gone?
Okay, so when you do the middle part here, what are you doing with?
The liner will go underneath this one here.
Okay.
So what will happen is the water will flow out of this, on top, up and over, like so.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That way, you're not going to, there's no water going out the other way, and it's going to flow properly as an overflow into this. And we're going to do a bit of that today. It's just going to give them a bit of a water change while doing it.
Oh, okay.
The water's filling up nicely in the deep end. It's a good 2.5 feet there now. And it'll be 3 before we know it. And that water's cold coming from the tap.
Peanut gallery over there.
You see how the bottom liner is really taking shape. And we're still figuring out all the wrinkles and kinks to take out of it. It's constantly changing, that's for sure.
Nicely. Good thing you do the laundry with the white socks on. Oh my God. Full.
Seriously?
Kidding, honey. I love you. Gold.
If it was there,
Wife was having quite the laugh at me doing the bunny hop, trying to tighten up the liner. But it's the only way I know how to do it. And it works.
Let's do it again.
you only get one crack at this once the water's in it, unless you want to drain it and start all over again.
Oh
And
my
I don't
God.
want to do that.
Oh my God.
See what you've done now, Chris. Yeah.
Just trying to tuck all the liner up underneath the spruce tree without choking the spruce tree off. It's fun. Water really is starting to fill up nicely. But it's cold. The top pond is really getting a good water change. And we're able to see where the water's going to flow. So we can set up rocks after we get this all set up. But this gives you an idea what's going to happen. Sometimes you just have to make yourself nice and comfortable. And it was getting hot.
And this is Stubbs, partway through getting the liner in, filling with water. And this is the beer exhausted
Drinking? No. Well, 10 beers.
Almost done for the day. A lot more water to go in yet, obviously. There's a lot of water already in there. It's been going for half a day now. Yeah. Hopefully by next episode we have the rocks in place and it looks a little nicer than it does now. But it's really coming. I'm happy. I'd really like to thank everyone for their great help. That being my family, you're amazing. My friends, you can't ask for better friends than that, and my neighbors. This has been a group effort, and I can't thank you enough. Make sure you tune in for next week's episode. Hopefully we'll have some more of the landscape done, another waterfalls added, and well, you never know how far we get. Being more water I dump into it from the ponds that I've got existing, more beneficial bacteria and more soluble the water becomes, and then I'm not dealing with new pond or new tank syndrome. But that's a different discussion for a later time. Well, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Think about subscribing, and don't forget to set your notifications so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Well, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you on the next episode. And don't miss the upcoming video that's coming out Friday on my first shabumpkins of the year that will be going outside. I think you'll really like these ones. Take care. We'll see you around real soon. Bye for now.